Hey guys, this is Blessed FX, and in today's video I'm going to be breaking down a chart, a simple chart breakdown that even if someone is just starting out Forex, even if you're an intermediate, you'll be able to see how I break down my charts for me to be able to get setups even on a 15 time frame. So if I'm analyzing my charts on an M15, that means you can get multiple setups in one single day. So my goal is just to show you simple breakdown. So welcome to my YouTube channel. So when I'm looking at structure, I always want to see where am I in the market? Am I in a downtrend? Am I in an uptrend? Or am I consolidating? And since I'm looking at M15 for entries, I'm going to look for a higher time frame like H2 or H4 for me to be able to determine how the overall structure is unfolding. In my chart, we are in an uptrend. So I'm going to use my fib level to see how retracement is happening and where price could possibly go after retracement. And as you can see from my fib level, I'm able to see that price is pulling back in at 23.6 and maybe pushing till the 38.2. But then if it's to continue, it's either going to continue in the negative 27.0 or in the negative 61.8. So it's like a fib level kind of guides you on how retracement might happen and how continuation could also happen. So now that I know that I'm in an uptrend, I have to now mark out my key levels to see where price could possibly reverse from or the levels where price could react from. Yeah, so it's very important to mark out key levels. Why? It's because most of the time when price approaches these key levels, it's going to react on those levels, either reversing or consolidating or even breaking them, retesting them as it continues to the direction it has already chosen. So in this scenario, I've already marked out my key levels. And now I can also use trend lines because I'm a price action trader. I use trend lines, I use zones, I use Fibonacci levels, I use divergence. Anything that is going to help me understand how price is unfolding is what I'm more interested in. Okay, so right now I'm going to employ my trend line, from point A to point B to see now that price is above a trend line. The main reason why it's called a trend line is because once price breaks out of a trend line, it has broken out of a trend. Okay, so most of the times when you see price breaking out of a trend line, it's like a sign showing you that price could possibly break out and continue to the opposite direction. So it's very important for you to draw your trend lines very well as well. So in this scenario, we are seeing price has broken our trend line, and we don't know whether it's going to come back for retest or not. But remember, this is a higher time frame. It's just guiding us to see what price is doing on a higher time frame. So I'm going to break down my chart on a smaller time frame to see how we can find entries now that I've already marked out my key levels. Okay, so still on the higher time frame, let me first employ my fib level from point A to point B to see if price is to retrace within this structure. How is it going to retrace? Even if it's going to come back for a retest, is it going to first tap it in the negative six? Sorry, is it going to first tap in the 50%, in the 61.8% before it comes back for a retest on a trend line? We don't know. So now that I've employed my fib level, I'm seeing that price is currently in the 50% and also it might approach the 60%. We don't know. So let me break down my price to see how it's going to play out. So when you break down price to M15, we are going to see that we have a gap, but then this gap is close to our trend line and our zone. And remember, price at around this point, it reversed from a 50% of our fib level of this particular structure. But then it's not only a 50%, we still have other key levels that are backing up our 50% of our fib level. So this area is a key point where price could reverse to push until down and then maybe retest the trend line or even just push up. So as we can see, price has broken our trend line and it's at a resistance zone. Now it has broken our resistance zone. We need to figure out where price is heading to next. And then in this scenario, I'm going to employ my fib level from point A to point B to see how this continuation is going to happen, because this is our reversal point. Price rejected the 50%. We don't know if it's going to stop within the negative 27.0. We just don't know but to follow price. So as you can see, price is rejecting our zone, and now here's another key thing to master. price is rejecting our zone. It has broken and retested this zone, and it's actually still pushing till our key level, which is a zone. This is like a resistance zone. When you look at the price before it, this is a resistance zone. But then price is losing momentum. The momentum that pushed price from this point to this point is not the same momentum that is pushing price from this point to this point, which kind of indicates that maybe the sellers are sorry, maybe the buyers are not interested in pushing price above this zone. So if price is losing momentum, what does it show us? It can tell us that it's about to reverse, it's about to go into a retracement, or it's even about to just consolidate and then continue to its original direction. So in this scenario, we are seeing price tapping into the negative 27, and now it's also diverging. So I'm going to use my trend lines just to figure out if price breaks this structure, will I enter a sell or not? So I'm going to use my trend line from point A to point B to see if price gives me a sell setup, because first of all, price is rejecting the zone. Second, this is a negative 27.0 on a fib level. And third, price is diverging. Diverging, it means it's losing momentum. It doesn't want to push up anymore. So let's continue and see how price plays out. Boom. And as you can see, we are seeing price has broken a trend line. This could be an entry point, but this entry point could be hard. Why? It's because we have a zone below it, and this zone can make price, and price can reject this zone to continue to the upside. So some people are not really comfortable entering below a trend line that is close to a zone because of what I just mentioned. But let's just continue to see if we can get a clear entry. Okay, so price has already broken our trend line, which indicates that it has changed trend. It could possibly push to the downside. So this is very interesting. Now we are seeing price has already broken a trend line, and actually price is now breaking our zone. If you really want to get a key entry, or if you really want to get a spot on entry, this entry is backed up by a lot of things. We have a break of structure, which was our previous support, that is turning into resistance. We have a trend line break and retest, and then we also have a retest of our minor structure zone around this area. If you really want, you can take a trade around that point, or if you are not comfortable, you can wait until price breaks below this point, and then you take a sell, and your stop loss level is going to be right above this level. So right now I'm going to take a sell, but let me show you how I'll be able to determine where my TP level is going to be. So first of all, I'm going to employ my fib level from point A to point B. This is my point B. That means I'm going to predict how this pullback would happen and how this continuation is going to happen. Let me show you. So the fib level is going to help me determine this pullback and this continuation. So I can put my TP level first at this point or at this point, depending on what I'm comfortable with. Okay, so let me delete everything to have a clean chart, given the fact that I've already explained what everything does. Okay, so let's play out price and see how it actually plays out. And boom, as you can see, our price has given us a TP level. And if you look on your left, you realize that this TP level is actually accompanied by a lot of things, or you can call them confluences. Okay, when you look at your left, we have a zone below it. So that means price could possibly push till this zone and then reverse from that point. But then right now we have money saved in the bank. So let's keep on analyzing our charts. I'm seeing a previous support level around here. I'm seeing another support level inside this structure, but then we don't know what price is doing. Now, we are seeing price is coming back to this trend line. By the way, this trend line was retested around this area. If you wanted to buy, you could buy from this area, but price has already passed that area. So we are interested in where price is at the moment. So price is in a zone. When price is in a zone, it could indicate a lot of things. People just want to buy on those zone areas, or people just want to buy in demand and supply zones, but sometimes it's not advisable. Why? Supply zones are actually a bit wide, demand and supply zones are a bit wide. You see, from like this is point A to point B, it has 16 pips. If you buy from this point A and price completes the whole entire movement, that is a movement within the zone, you are losing 60 pips. So sometimes you need a clear structure, even if price is at the zone, before you enter a trade. Okay, so let's read price and see what it's doing in the moment. So as you can see, if you had bought around this area, look at what you are facing. Price had to complete the whole entire zone before it can buy. So now in this scenario, we are seeing price is now trying to reverse. Okay, so let me still employ my trend line from point A to point B. This is my point A, point B, to see if it's going to break out and continue to the upside. So in this scenario, um around this point, I have a clear trend line break and retest. If you are to see, we have a break, we are seeing price rejection happening on our candle. And in this area, sorry, in this scenario, I can also employ my fib level from point A. This is my point A to point B to be able to determine how this pullback might happen and how this continuation is going to happen. So in this scenario, if I buy, my first stopping point is going to be at a negative 27.0, and my next stopping point is going to be at a negative 61.8. So let's try to buy around this area and we see how it could have played out. My SL around this point, and boom. Let me delete all this to have a clearer chart. We know that our TP level is going to be at a negative 61.8. Let's play out price and see how it plays out. Boom, 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 boom. As you can see, now price has hit our TP again. So now you see where our price is at right now. At this point up, this point, price is just not reversing from there. There are reasons why price is reversing from there. Look at your left to see. If you look at your left, price is actually rejecting a previous support level. And as price is approaching a previous support level, we are seeing divergence happening. What is divergence? Divergence is when price has a certain momentum, when it's starting a certain trend, and as it's kind of coming to the end of this trend, it loses momentum. The momentum when it started is not the same momentum as it's still continuing. And now price is losing momentum, and this loss of momentum is happening at our new key level. This could indicate that price is going to go into a price is going to go into a pullback, price is going to go into a consolidation. That is what divergence is all about. Price is losing momentum. Okay, so in this scenario, price is rejecting our key level. Maybe we can see if it breaks a certain structure again for us to get a sell entry. Now, this is why price action is very interesting to read, because if you see that if price breaks a certain structure here, it's just going to push to our trend line as a retest, because price retests most of the times. So let me try to play out price and see how it plays out. This is all divergence happening. And as you can see, price is still rejecting our key level. So at this point, let me first pause right there. We never know when divergence is going to stop. Okay, I have a lot of support levels or minor structure zones, you can call them that, but this is just to help me understand how price is unfolding. And by the way, if we try to employ our fib level again from point A to point B, we are going to see that these price rejections have been happening within the 23.0. Okay, so most of the times when price is still playing around the 23.0, it could indicate that price could actually still push up, and this is what we are seeing. Okay, so right now we are seeing a break of structure. Let me show you how it's happening. You see, around that point, when you use your trend line from point A to point B, this is my point A, this is my point B. Okay, so we are already seeing price is losing momentum, right? This is all price losing momentum. It doesn't want to push up anymore. And right now, it's also consolidating on a zone. That means if it breaks below this trend line, we could take a sell until our next stopping point. Let's try to play out price and we see how. Exactly. Now you see how it plays out. Price has broken our trend line. Price is retesting our trend line, and price is dropping down. In this scenario, this is where I'm going to place my sell immediately after this candle. So something interesting again. If I place a sell around this point, my first SL point is going to be right below this previous high, and then it's going to be. Or if I want to have a bigger SL, I can put it up there, but then if I have a bigger SL, I have to cut down on my lot sizes. So right now I'm going to put my SL level around this point, and I'm going to determine how or where price could possibly push when it's pushing to the downside. So I'm going to employ my fib level from point A to point B to see how it plays out, and I'm going to put my TP level around the 61.8. Now, this 61.8 is also backed up by a previous support level, which is around here. So let me play out price to see how it actually plays out. Boom, boom, boom. And as you can see, it actually goes even beyond my TP level. So I have a lot of scenarios where I can explain how I use my trend lines, how I use my support levels, how I use divergence for me to be able to read price. But if you're a price action trader, you need to understand how do I read price. So in this scenario, as you can see, price has already hit our TPs. As you can see, TP1 is hit, this TP is hit, this TP is hit. So in this scenario, we need to understand price is diverging. Remember what I said about divergence? Price is losing momentum. It's different momentum from point A to point B. It's not the same momentum from this point to this point. That means price is not willing to push down anymore. And if price is not willing to push down anymore, it could go into a consolidation, it could change direction, it could go into a pullback. We do not know. Our job is just to analyze price from point A to point B. I'm using my trend line. If I get a trend line break and retest, fine and well. If I don't, I can get a support break and retest, or a resistance break and retest. As you can see, this is a very interesting point. So this is a very interesting point. Right here, someone is going to tell me, why don't I buy around this area? Now, this is where candlestick patterns come in, okay? When price has a lot of momentum towards your key area, for example, this candle from point A to point B approaching my trend line, it's a heavy momentum candle. If something is heavy momentum, that means it still has momentum to go through the trend line or to go through your support level, unless you get to see confirmation candles like rejection candles. That's when you can be confident to take a trade. Now price broke my trend line, but then when it was coming back for a retest, this is a lot of momentum that I can't really take a trade because of that. Anyway, continuing to where our price is at, price is now diverging again. What does divergence mean? Price could go into a pullback, a retracement, consolidation to go to the downside. Our job is to figure out where to get in, where to get out, where is price going. This is how I analyze my charts, and I'll be dropping a lot of these videos for me to explain on how I use my Fibonacci levels, how I use my trend lines, how I use my divergence, just for me to be able to read price. What is price doing? Where is it heading at after retracement? Just for everyone to understand how price action works. So if you're still interested in learning more about Forex trading, you can go ahead and follow me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, X, all those platforms. I'm posting videos about Forex trading, chart analysis, basically understanding what Forex is all about. My name's Blessed Atire, Blessed FX. And if you want to join my Telegram channel, you can go to my YouTube or you can go to any platform. Tap into my bio, it will lead you to my Telegram community where you'll be able to see setups, analysis, a lot of trading insights, and that is it. Bye.